Testing my microphone. Testing. Can you hear me? Whoop, whoop. I think you can. I'll give it a moment to see if anybody comes on. I have some plans for today, some cool stuff going on. I will introduce myself. It is 11:11 on 2/11. We just had a beautiful full moon. No, not full moon. Sorry, new moon that happened, right? And I did 2 workshops yesterday, so it kicked me on my butt. Hello. So we'll be waiting for others to join. And then I'll introduce myself. I will be putting up some protections. So good morning. I have some things that Spirit wanted me to show you guys today. Hang on, I got these things in my ears. I'm going to take them out. Whoop, whoop. Hello. Let me take these out because it's really weird. Even though I can't hear you, I can't really play that through my headphones. So I'm going to just turn those off really quick. It was just funky monkey to do that, so I'm not going to do that. I have been working on some things this morning, clearing the energy, clearing the mind. And some things came through the Spirit wanted me to show you guys and to talk about that I did when I first started my journey. Because they're coming into play as full circle moments. So some of you may not know me, and some of you might. Some of you that possibly will join have worked with me before, and others have not. I am not normal. I'll tell you that right now. I am, first of all, still healing from my journey. So that's why I look the way I do sometimes. My journey was quite painful, quite complex. It was all a part of my own awakening. And it dealt with the entirety and the brevity of what the ascension is. Some people are becoming more aware that the ascension is, in fact, the return of Christ. And you don't have to believe me. Everything I did, like I said, was my own awakening. And it's quite awesome to see. It really, truly is. It began in 2019 when I had my own Kundalini awakening, and I had no idea why or how I caused it at the time because it wasn't intentional. And then my whole life changed and things took over. They became rearranged. Things were happening to and through me that I didn't understand, that nobody else could explain to me because it wasn't like what they did. So I started doing, just having weird things happen, like visuals of truths, right? They showed me the Bible and what was true and what was real in that, and a lot of it is not. Then I started doing things like all of a sudden I would be outside of myself. Some people call it remote viewing. I call it like astral traveling / remote viewing on steroids. So that started happening to me, and I thought something was wrong with me at that time, but it was not. I had a psychological degree, so I actually looked into it. I even had evaluations done to say, what is wrong with me? What is happening? And everybody's like, you're normal. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And they're like, well, these things could be happening. I'm like, well, they are. So it took me a little time to understand who I was and what I was doing. And you can take it or leave it, right? Some will see who I am and some won't. And if they can't, then that's because something's blocking it. Okay. So essentially, then I started doing things that dealt with Atlantis, which was the time of Adam and Eve. Then I started doing things like clearing Mount Shasta, activating pyramids, and that went into Jesus and Mary Magdalene time after that. Cleared the Holy Grail, which was not holy at all, and it was not a cup, but the cup was relevant too, and so is the term the Last Supper. Then from there, it went into Sekhmet and Horus. I dried the Nile in June of 2023. That came through. And then recently, Horus returned. He is my twin flame. And in part of that, God married me in my twin flame, which was really cool to experience and to witness and to go through. And all of that. And before I started doing these things, I had these things come through that I didn't understand, right? I'm going to show you one of them, and we can screen share now. So I'm going to do that really quick, which is so cool. Let's see. So I am writing a book, not my first one. But in this one, they wanted me to put so you can see, this is so cool. They're letting me share my screen now. This is a new thing. So see, Spirit actually gave me the name Juniper Bloom Mystique. But at that time, before I started doing everything, I would channel these things through. And they want me to show them to you because they're full circle moments, okay? So too many sounds, the words become broken. Changing times now to a world less spoken. By Juniper Bloom. That's what Spirit called me. That is not my original name. My birth name is Brianna, so some people know me as that as well. But Spirit actually called me Juniper Bloom Mystique. So that is what I go by. But this is the one they want me to show you. This is the full circle moment right now. And I talked about the blue gamma rays coming through recently. I don't call them gamma rays. Sorry, that's like De La Roca speak, right? But he saw it too after I did. And then the Schumann resonance reflected that as well. If you don't know what the Schumann resonance is, it reads the energy of the earth influxes. And it's been off the charts, okay? So there's blue rays coming in, but this is relevant to that. And this is what Spirit wants me to show you. So I wrote this probably back in 2019, 2020, before I did all the work. So what once was lost, now is found. My peace of mind, my safe and sound. Bring back to me what once was taken. This cold, cold world no longer shaken. And then when you put that together with everything that I did, it makes a lot of sense now. So in my journey, I united with my twin flame, and I had to heal all shadow out of all 12 gates. And my original DM didn't make it, and I almost didn't either. It was a lot of attacks on me, and so I swelled up. I swelled up when he passed, and I got a walk-in. So my vessel took a hit, right? And I'm constantly battling that. But I got a new one, and all of the entire collective soul had to change to align with that. And this has been happening since 2019, and it's all proven in on this channel. So no matter who watches this and when, because a lot of people like to watch these after the lives, I encourage you to watch it all play out because it's very real. And if you can't see it, it is important to actually see it. It's a gift to be able to see it and see what it means, because I would do them in workshops and I didn't see them coming. Okay. I remember when we went to Fiji, everybody's like, why Fiji? And I'm like, I don't know. I really don't know. And then I had to look things up, and then it would play out. And we would be like, oh my God, did that really just happen? And then I would process it and it would start to make sense. So I was activating pyramids and stuff. And Fiji was originally the Earth's root chakra, and that is where the portal of the gods is. And Fiji now has like 333 islands, but I don't think it was always an island. I believe at one time it was solid land. And the pyramid there was under the water. So that was the first pyramid I activated. And so that what once was lost now is found. My peace of mind, my safe and sound, is a full circle moment. And that's what Spirit brought through this morning. I didn't know to bring it to you. I forgot about that. But I channeled it this morning. I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember that. So it's something to take note of. What happened is not what they told you happened. Everything pretty much they said was a lie, but they would put little bits of truth in it in order for you to feel safe in trusting them. And what truly happened is they would rip apart your God, right? And they would get you to pray to a false God. That's not a joke. And anything where there was division is not of God at all, because he's pure love. So you have to consider that. The things I talk about are not normal. The healings I do are not normal. Hi, Jacinth. And so Jacinth, you missed it. Jacinth has been with me since pretty much I started, right? She's watched it all too. So she might remember this. I want to show you this really quick, Jacinth, because this is what Spirit's telling us to look at today. And now YouTube allows me to share my screen during a live. I think that is so special. So do you remember this? I wrote this back when I first started. But it really makes sense. And God said right now it's a full circle moment. So what once was lost, now is found. My peace of mind, my safe and sound. Bring back to me what once was taken. This cold, cold world no longer shaken. It's very relevant. It's very, very, very relevant, because you'll hear people talk about the new earth. You'll hear people talk about the ascension. And some people believe it, and others don't because they just can't see it. Because where the shadow resides, we cannot see. And I came in and created a division of my own, and it is the only division that exists in reality, and that is of darkness and light. The vibrations don't match. So starting in Adam and Eve, then continuing through Jesus and Mary Magdalene, then continuing through Sekhmet and Horus, was what they did to rip apart God. Okay. And all that actually was undone and played out on this channel. So very, very, very relevant. Just saying, says, yes, I remember you posting that in the beginning. I did not know or could not understand it at that time. I know. That's how I felt. I mean, I felt it in my heart when I channeled it. That's why I thought it was really cool that Spirit brought that up today. There's a few of those, and they're in my new book that I'm writing right now. But I was like, oh my gosh, I remember that. Now I get the brevity of what it meant and what it means. And so, this cold, cold world is no longer shaken. It's already all been undone. And we can't undo the undone. So changes are upon us. And right now there's a massive influx of waves. Now, these waves, it depends on who you are. You're going to feel them in different ways, all in due time. Exactly. Just saying everything Spirit shows you. That's why I say put it in your pocket, because I may say stuff, especially in healings or in messages, that don't make sense to people at the time, because I don't just see the present. Okay. I see the entirety of people's hearts and their future and their past and everything. I see everything. And so I tell people, when it doesn't make sense, let's just put it in our pocket, because that's what Spirit would tell me too. Just put it in your pocket and wait for the full circle moments. That's what I call them. And boy, this was one. But these influx of energies are coming in. Now, they can make people sick. They can bring out toxins and toxicities within our system. They also have to deal with animals. Have you guys noticed? I talked about that recently, right? The animals, and how all of a sudden there's like this wave of food recall. And I was like, cool. Even from cheese and dairy to other things. And I was like, yeah, I think that's going to continue. So there's a lot changing. These energies can be quite overwhelming and rearranging. And depending upon who you are, how awake you are, how connected you are, they affect you in different ways, right? Christ light is what they are. And these are blue gamma rays in particular, Spirit said, so they deal with the DM. But they can make you feel yucky. They can bring out pains in our bodies and illnesses that have been dormant or hiding, any lower vibrational states that we have. Now, people like other spiritual people who talk about these things. Lisa said, I had a full circle moment from the very first healing just recently. See, yes, and they will continue to happen. And I feel like Spirit does it that way for a reason, because it's levels of awakening. We can only take so much in at a time, period. I don't care who you are. You can only take in so much at a time. And what I do is very high frequency stuff. Like it takes pure enlightenment to understand a lot of it, right? Like it takes time. So the processing takes time, no matter who you are. It took me time too. So that's Spirit's way of validating, like the paintings that I'll do, right? I try to do a different one and I get these weird Egyptian twins. I'm like, what does that mean? So we never fully know. So the best thing I would say is, instead of trying to spend the time understanding and what psychology says to analyze, that actually hurts. If we just put it in our pocket and we keep doing what is important in the moment, things make sense when they're meant to make sense, right? So they full circle around. And then we're like, oh my gosh, I get that now, because we realized we healed enough to rise enough, to see enough, to process more. And then we get more. And then it keeps circling. And that's what I call the circles of awakening, or what other people would call the stages of awakening and processing and understanding. So I thought that was really cool to see that, because I forgot about those. I found them recently, a few months ago, when I truly started this book, and then I put it aside and forgot about it again. And today Spirit mentioned that particular one. I was like, I know this, because I wrote it down. So I think that's quite cool. And there's a full moon behind it. And if you know my story and what I did with my twin flame, it was full moon, the moon related, all the darkness of the moon, undoing all of that, waking my DM up, and then uniting as twin flames, and then God married us. So I posted that video on my private group today, Stepping Stones to Awakening, and that was done back in 22, where God literally married us. And I was like, what does that mean? That is different. That's not normal. But it really does bring a perspective into what marriage is. And you can't just divorce with a divorce, right? Like, it's totally different. So all of these are full circle moments, and they do affect the collective soul. These are mass waves, mass. And they've been affecting my third eye and my crown, and that's why my eyes are all puffy, because your third eye relates to your sinus cavity and stuff. So sometimes we may think we have a cold, but what it really is your third eye purifying and getting rid of waste. So we don't always know, right? It's really important to just take our time with things. And I was giving a little space too, because I was going to see if Becca and her husband showed up today, because he was supposed to get a healing as well, but I don't see them yet. So I'm just going to finish the collective message, and then we will go from there. But it's really important to understand that. Absolutely. Yeah, there's so much things that we know in our heart to be true, but that's what they did, is they would manipulate truth so that we would believe some of it, right? And then it would just be so much layers of misconstrued information and lack of understanding. And I even see it play out in the spiritual community a lot. Oh my gosh, a lot. They just like, I had somebody message me and they're like, how do I heal my past lives? And that's so complex. Like, I'm not even going to really justify that question, because there's, for what purpose, right? There's a lot of people who like to spend time in the past. And I even told her, I said, the only reason I will do that is for the ascension. And she just didn't quite understand that, because it's different, right? Like, I don't need to worry about my past. If I'm doing what I need to do right now, what I need to release is going to align, right? Yes, I know that. Yes. Thank you, Lisa. Absolutely. But if we do what we're supposed to be doing when we're ready, and I just learned this too in the academy, is that, and I remember that lesson coming through. I remember that, learning that at that time, is that, we can hope for things, we can expect things, we can want things. Like, I want to do this now, I want to go back into my past, I want to remove this now. But spirit might be like, no, it's not going to work for you right now. What you need to do is this, right? Like, so when I'm aligned, when I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, that is when things that need to rise will rise. There's no reason to ever focus behind, and no reason to ever focus forward. But that's what we were taught. We're always taught so much of that. And psychology teaches the same thing. Let's reminisce. Let's go and talk about the past, and let's do that. And there might be times where we need to ponder, pontificate, to process, but then to quickly move on. And we forget how to be in the here and the now. And that's why meditating is so important. Because if you can't be in the here and the now, and you can't get control of the mind and things, you can't see clearly to spirit. And that is why some people can see me and others cannot. Plus, I spark their shadow. So this is really important to understand right now, because there's big shifts coming. And these shifts might cause fear in some people, but fear is not of God. God says, don't fear. Why would he say that? Because it's not our power, right? We have power. There's so much we can do if we know what we're doing. So that is really important to understand. And these full circle moments are very, very, very relevant. If you look back at my path, a lot of it's on this channel, not all of it. Because not everybody can have access to everything I did. It's for the pure of hearts, right? It's for those who truly want to rise. Otherwise, everybody will rise with the earth, like I did, which is what they call Judgment Day. But God doesn't judge. So that's a misconstrued notion as well. But when you look back at the beginning of my videos, we are hitting certain moments of them. And this is in the full circle moment right now. What once was lost now is found. And I wrote that, I think, right before I started uniting with my DM. There's one more I want to show you. I'm going to read it. This is also twin flame, but I didn't know I was a twin flame at the time. That's not anything I believed in. I never believed in that. I thought it was just for people who truly wanted love, but they're real. Couldn't imagine what I went through back then, what was coming. It was very painful, and it was also the most love I'd ever felt. But then when my DM died and I got a walk-in, that's when I really swelled up. Not to mention when I activated the pyramids and my heart swelled up, my body swelled up. So that's why I look different. But this one I wrote right before I started uniting with my twin flame. I think it was both of them, one right after the other. I didn't write dates on them, so it's hard to exactly when I did them, but I was still going by JBM Brianna Walters, right? So I hadn't fully owned the name they gave me because I didn't like it at first. But this one says, now this is twin flames. So if you watch my videos, this will make sense, but you have to watch them to understand. It said, I said a prayer for you today, and I know God must have heard. It's been a while, though, I'd say. I still hang on every word. From out of the blue you came my way to whisper my song so sweet. Now that's relevant because twin flames, it's music transfer. When I united with my twin flame, I heard this most beautiful music I'd never heard before. And that's how I know his emotions. And that's a lot of times how we communicate with each other energetically. But it's unlike any other twin flame union. So I said a prayer for you today and know God must have heard. It's been a while, though, I'd say. I still hang on every word. From out of the blue you came my way to whisper my song so sweet. Somehow you know just what to say, as that is how I'd let you stay. Do not fear, for I am always near, on beautiful wings I send. That's quite relevant for the twin flame journey. And any twin flame might really resonate with that, but anybody can, truly. But when you look at these, this is what's full circling right now. When I did those to now, that work is complete. Okay? So that's what God wanted me to talk about because it's relevant. It's relevant with the energetic waves, the Schumann resonance. It's relevant with what people are feeling. People are feeling different things, though. So it just depends on how much healing and what your state of being is at, right? Nobody is on the same page, yet we're all on the same timeline. I hope that makes sense. So you'll hear people talk about we're all on different timelines. No, we're all on the same timeline, which is Judgment Day, or you reap what you sow day. But we're just on different pages. So that's a really good way to look at that as well. And you know, to those other ones that watch this video, because this is truly for everybody, when they see it, I would encourage you to focus on seeing what needs to be seen and letting go of everything else. Okay? So just saying, says, I do not recall you posting that one, but wow, in retrospect, it is so relevant to your journey. Yeah, I don't remember. I might have put that one in a course at the time. I don't remember. But it is so relevant, isn't it? I'm like, whoa. If you go back and watch my videos, it was quite a painful journey, you guys. I can't tell you enough how it was very real. It was very painful. To lose a twin flame is not normal. To be attacked by fallen angels is not normal. The Euphrates River started drying up when I undid the collective shadow. When I would activate pyramids, certain things that I would talk about in those videos that would happen, like fires and earthquakes and shifting poles, and it's all very biblical. It's nothing to take lightly. So it's something that needs to be seen for those that can, and those that cannot, you know, that's okay too. All right, so I'm just going to pull a quick collective, and I don't know if Becca and her man are coming. that's his loss because that was a healing that he truly needed. So hopefully that gets taken care of as well. Let me turn this down because it keeps buzzing in my ear, and I don't want that to happen during a healing. There we go. I think that's good. I also have my Hertz stuff for my chakras. I've been doing some major healing, and I got a new course coming through. So busy bee over here. All right, excuse me. I do burp. If you don't know me, I do burp, and it's gross. I burp when I connect to energies, and when I do healings, it's part of releasing. So it is what it is. Excuse me. Already, I'm just tuning in, and there you go. There's a burp. So, what I would tell you is unjust is now made just, and the justice system does not serve justice, okay? So karma does, and that is what the return of Christ is. That's why when they say God is here to judge you, no, your reactions are what stuns you, right? It's your responses, your reactions, and your choices that determine the outcome for you. That's why we are all on the same timeline, which is the wrath, or whatever you want to call it, but we're on different pages. If you choose to turn the page, you keep going. If you choose not to, they won't. Okay? I like that much better. Excuse me. All right. So really quick for the collective soul, where we are at on the ascension. Blue gamma rays are very important. So these are blue rays. These are masculine energies rising, but in a very big way. So the DM has done something apparently that has caused waves of change within the collective soul, and everybody's feeling it, and they're validating that. And that's why there's a lot of energies coming my way continually, but not just mine, his too. But it won't be stopped. So nobody can stop it. So there's energies that are constantly coming towards us. It's futile. It's a waste. It cannot be stopped. The changes cannot be stopped, and they're going to happen quicker and quicker and quicker. And where you focus will help you. Okay. So let's say something big happens in the collective whole, the collective soul, the earth, right? Like a tower moment, something falls, something crumbles, because it will, layer by layer. It's not meant to be jarring necessarily, but it might take that to wake some people up. Okay. So don't be in fear no matter what happens, because that's a false illusion. That's what they would use against you. That's a lens. So use it as a tool. Use them wisely. Use everything wisely. And God will never tell you when. Lots of people always want to know when. When is this coming? When is this coming? You'll hear people go, oh, on March 20th, the world's going to end. Bullshit. The world's never going to end. Just some people won't stay. Okay. Yeah, that's the way it goes. So God would never say a date because it's karmic. Just like why all those people are building bunkers. Do you hear about that? From Zuckerberg to like all these people. And why don't we see certain people anymore at all? Isn't that interesting? Do you ever wonder about that? Things that make you go, All right, let's see what card says for the ascension time right now. And then we will do the healing. And we'll see if anybody pops in, because sometimes they run a little bit late. Excuse me. For those, I'm doing a healing on Shannon today, yes. And if anybody else joins, that's fine. But when I do healings, I don't want to know anything. I don't want to know anything about you. I don't work that way. You don't have to tell me anything. Generally, what we want, Spirit will allow to come through. So I always rely on that, okay? In the end is when I will ask questions, but generally speaking, for free healings, I do it quite fast, and it's a lot to process. So I encourage those who received them to watch the video back again sometimes. So here's the messages. I haven't pulled this one. So this is my deck that I created while I was clearing the portals through the 13 gates. You get to choose what defines you. Okay. Choose wisely to the truth of your heart. for the benefit of all involved, right? You get to choose what defines you. And you'll hear this talked about sometimes, right? You choose what defines you. You choose what you focus on. Choose wisely to the truth of your heart for the benefit of all involved. Why would that be? Why does your heart matter? Mysticism, right? What Jesus was, talks about the truth. The truth is God is in our heart. And that's why your way home is healing the entirety of your heart. But where we connect to each other is through our heart, because we're all connected, right? You've heard that before too, including everything alive, the trees, everything alive can feel your heartbeat. It is true. If you watch me activating pyramids and stuff, I talk about this time and time again. Not only that, but I've changed things. So when you choose your heart, it already benefits all, because nobody truly wants to hurt anybody in their heart, right? You get what I'm feeling? You feel what I'm saying? And that's the law of manifesting, the only law, although I don't like that term, because that's lower vibrational. But that's the only thing that really matters, is for the benefit of all. Does that mean that I can't hope for myself? Oh no. If you do self-love, guess what you're doing? You're connecting to God. And they've distorted that with the term narcissism. So that's not true. Okay. This one I like too, because have you ever heard that term potential? Well, you've got good potential. I would say kiss my ass. Potential schmenschel. You either like me or you don't. Potential accomplished, created, and created does not exist. Okay. Potential accomplished and created does not exist. These are enlightened things. Okay. So it can take a little time to understand. So potential accomplished and created does not exist, as we all have the same potential vortex. Exactly. Don't limit unjust. Simply celebrate instead. I like that one a lot. And then the last part of the message for the collective soul right now. Everything is actually through you. It only exists through you. So this is something that I teach a lot in every course and every workshop that I do. Nothing happens to you. It can only happen through you. Your karma, even bad things, and that's hard to say. Does that mean that we're being punished? God doesn't punish. See, this is a distorted reality of God. He's only love. Everything is karmic based. It's your blueprint. It's the lessons you need to learn. It's things from our past that come into our present. That's what this earth was about. But not only that, blessings too, right? Blessings can only happen through us. Lessons can only happen through us. Nothing can ever happen to you. And because even darkness, we have to let it in. Okay. We let it in through choices. You get to choose what defines you. Okay. That's free will. That's why Jesus didn't die for your sins. That's a distorted concept, because that takes away your free will. Can you imagine that? No, it's up to you. You choose what defines you through the choices that you make. And when you come from a heart-centered place, that's when you're doing things for God, through love, and for the collective soul, and for yourself. So I really like this message. There is no potential. We're all the same vortex. It's just who turns the page, who chooses to grow as a soul, and who chooses to learn more, and who chooses to go within more, and to connect with their heart. And because you choose what defines you. So you can be defined by your shadow and judgment and fear, or you can be defined by love, pure unconditional love, and let nothing else get in the way. Because everything is actually through you. Those are enlightened concepts. And that's where we're at on the ascension right now. Okay. All right. So on that note, Shannon, are you ready? I'm going to get a drink of water. I was really hoping Becca would be here with her husband too, because the last time I saw him, he needed it and he was supposed to be here. So I'm surprised they're not. Again, I do things that are very different, a little strange. Just be open. She says yes. Okay, and I go a little fast sometimes. I don't mean to. It's because I'm channeling in the moment. I'm a pure channel. And so if you have questions, you can comment. You don't have to close your eyes. You just be you. I close my eyes and I don't read it until the end. Validate, do whatever you need to do. But I just go. Okay. I don't know you. I've never met you before. So I'm just clarifying that for everybody. That's how I roll. Even when you book sessions with me, I never let people tell me anything about them. Like, I don't want to know. All right. Feel free to get a pen and paper if you want to, or watch this video back, because I say a lot of things and everything I say is very relevant. But hang on, because there's actually a message for you too from the cards. When I do a healing, that's kind of a part of it. If you get a healing, you also usually generally get messages either from the cards or the angels will come in. I work with the angels sometimes, but not all. Everything I do is through me. Excuse me. I do teach people how to work with the angels, but I teach them how I know. Okay, so like a master status. Cosmic Emerald, create perfect health, access divine abundance. So this is very interesting. I want to show you the card. The green is very relevant right now. The green is very relevant. This is heart-centered. But I'm hearing a few things about this. It's pure heart-centeredness, heart purification, dark night of the soul. Excuse me, deep hidden truths are going to be rising for you. Ones that you didn't see coming, okay? Some of you might have, some you feel already, because you're not minimal. You're smarter than that, right? There's something in you. But your health needs to be a focus before you can access abundance, okay? And the health of your heart. This is mostly your heart chakra. I'm not in your energy to see your actual heart itself. What I'm focusing on in the message is your heart chakra, your energy, purification, and deep wounds rising. Some you didn't see coming. Excuse me, I'm burping. Okay, so then we have focus on the positive. This tells me that something heavy could be definitely coming your way. It's important to focus on positivity in those moments, because that's how the shadow likes to work. But when we have wounds rising, we sit in that feeling, right? And that can be quite heavy. And what we say to ourselves can totally change a lot of things. So just be very careful with that. Don't focus on the heavy, focus on the positives, even when heavy things are rising. Okay? Excuse me. I hope that makes sense. Those are very important. Before abundance can come, healing needs to occur. There's power in you don't realize, and there's also wounds you didn't see because they're hidden. And then it's important that when they do rise, to focus on the positivity no matter what is happening around you, because it's mostly an illusion, okay? An illusion of energies. All right, here we go. So I'm already releasing a lot as I'm trying to come into your energy. There's a barrier. There's a little bit of, I don't want to say judgment, it's just uncertainty. Like, I don't know what's happening. I will tell you that I can't see anything that's not in your free will. I can't do anything that's not of your free will. It's all pure and of love. And right away, that calms this space, right? Because when we don't know, we don't know. We're taught to be guarded, and that's not a bad thing. So I'm just calming that energy. And before I can truly get into yours, it's understanding. I work through Creator only, and that's how I roll. So just know that. It's all about highest and best and what is best for you at this time. So with that, I get a lot of pressure in my head and a lot of like clogging in my ears. I'm coming down into your energy. Excuse me. There is some very dense energy, what you would call an aura, or some call their bubble. It's in your, like, around your head space towards your backside. So it's like a cloudy haze. It's like a gray. It's like a gray cloud. Excuse me. So I'm removing that and allowing light to flood in its way. Just beautiful positivity, light. I see a light blue and like a light pink hue. It's very beautiful colors. And that is what we're replacing into your aura. Excuse me again. I'm so sorry. I know it's gross, but it's a good sign. So I'm anxious. There's a lot of nerves here too. So I'm really calming the energy. Excuse me. So sorry. There's like we build walls to protect ourselves. And I feel like throughout life, you've had to do that quite well. I don't know if you're like an owner or a boss lady of some sort, but you've had to be in control for quite some time for your outcomes, right? And so that's part of it. And then not understanding what's happening. It creates like, ooh, like I don't want to be vulnerable either. So I won't say anything that would jeopardize that. This I can promise. What is said and done is through the soul of the free will and positivity. So there's a barrier to me bringing down Christ's light. I can't do that way because that would be too jarring for your system, I think. So I'm going to come from the earth up. So I'm going to draw up the energy from the earth up into your feet, your ankles, your calves, your knees, your thighs, and your hips. Your root chakra has been, I don't want to say it's dormant because half of it's moving and the other half is quite still. So I'm bringing in light into it. And I'm allowing roots to like an energy to come down from the root chakra and into the earth to help ground you. And only from there are they having me ground you. So my ankle hurts. So I'm kind of being pushed back down in your energy. There's a barrier here. Now I know this was a gift given and it's not something you went looking for and understand too much. And that is reflecting here. That's why the things that I do, I let people come to me, right? But this is all in love and in purity and positivity, and no harm can come out of this either way. But my ankle hurts. I'm into my right ankle. Now I can mirror sometimes, but I'm in my right ankle. So I got pushed down from there a little bit and I went down into your ankle. Now I don't know if you twisted it at some point, but it does. It feels like I twisted my ankle. It feels weak, almost like I can sprain it easily. And I don't know if I had like I see it wrapped in a bandage and even crutches at some point. So I don't know why I'm seeing that. That's just what I'm seeing. It's like I have to baby this ankle a little bit. Oh, it does. It hurts deep into the bone of my ankle. No, I'm in your energy. So when I say mine, I'm reflecting you. Excuse me. Wow. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. So I'm going into where the ligaments attached to the bone. And I'm actually healing it. So it's like I feel like there was a sprain, like a strain, like a sprain, right? And I'm having to heal that connection, the elasticity, the strength in there needs to be healed. And so I'm just bringing some light into that part, but it's right in my ankle and all those bones. Excuse me. And I'll take my time as much as I can. But the more I'm pushed out, the less I can do. So just breathe. And then I can rise up back to your calves and your knees and your thighs and your hips. And I'm going right to your spinal column. And then my hips hurt too. So I feel like when I say out of balance, a lot of times people think that's energetic, but your actual skeletal system feels like it's out of balance as I'm rising into it. So I'm at your pelvic bone and I'm going kind of up your spinal and maybe even slight scoliosis at the top. I don't know if you've been diagnosed with that or not. I just see a little bit of a curvature of the spine towards the top, but I feel like I'm quite uncomfortable. I feel like my skeletal system is a bit out of balance, especially if I've had like injuries in an ankle and things where our body compensates. It can throw everything off anyways. Excuse me. So I'm literally drawing light. I'm going very slow, probably because that's all you're allowing me to do. I don't know. It's quite weird, right? But I'm going into your skeletal system and I'm drawing light all the way up through and into your femur as well. So I don't know why I'm focused on your femur suddenly, but I am. I just need to draw light up through your femur, especially my right leg. Now I can mirror, but I'm just babying my right leg a lot. I'm drawing light up through there. I'm going slowly because if I go too fast, I feel like you'll kick me out. She'll be like, get out of here. That's too much. It's too weird. So I'm just drawing the light up very slowly, just nice and gingerly, just nice and calmly going through your bones. But I do need to scrape your bone marrow and your femur. This is not something you've probably ever heard of doing before, but what that tells me is you have slight so within your bones I see some porous, right? It's like little pockets of air, and so they're a little thinner than I would like them to be, almost like osteoporosis type status. And not only that, I need to strengthen and balance out my skeletal structure. And then it's also going into the blood flow. But again, as I start to rise, I get a kickback. The bone marrow affects our red blood count. It affects our strengthening in our bone system. It affects vitamin intake, especially like vitamin A. It can affect a lot of different things in our body. There's been several different times I've done this for different types of healings. And so it's something I've done before, but it can cause a little achiness sometimes, and there can be actual symptoms from the work that I do, and that's okay. Anything that I do is temporary for as far as symptoms, but it is very real. Whereas you go to a doctor and you get medications, I have to filter those out of your system before I can do actual healing sometimes. But it does really truly have effects immediately, a lot. And all healing is in layers. And I'm just being a lot of kickback, a lot of hesitation. So I keep kind of getting pushed back into your femur area. But I'm still doing a little bit of bone marrow scraping. It also helps the like the leukocyte production. It helps our immune system in a lot of ways. But your bones are quite porous, so they're a little bit thinner, a little weaker than what I would like them to be. And I need to go to your epiglottis because I need to do a hormone release. You're low on your estrogen and a little bit of melatonin, and even a little bit off balance with the testosterone and just different hormone releasing. It's almost like I have to ask permission. Like, I will explain this. Will you let me go? So I think I can go there now. And this is why I like to do, a little bit more of like an exchange type thing. And that's okay because it's weird. It takes a lot to understand, let alone to accept. It's different, right? It's not normal at all. I understand that, but there's pain still in my leg, so I'm still into my leg and my bone structure. I feel like that's an important aspect here is my bone structure. It's just there's some pain there, and there's even pain like I don't tell anybody about too. Like I'm very tough, I just deal with some things, and so as I said, that is starting to release. I am scraping some more of the bone marrow towards the top of your femur. And then I need that really to strengthen up the spinal column. So I'm going to draw a light all the way up the spinal column. And then as I go towards the heart space, it's like hesitancy there too. Do you have a dog? There's like a dog with you. Like always wanting to lay on your lap. So this could be a dog from the past or the present. I keep kind of getting kicked out of your energy, so that's not 100% being read at this moment in time. But there's this like a dog that likes to lay on your lap. Like comfort and support, my support companion. Also letting you know you're not alone, and for validating purposes, I suppose. But it almost even feels like it's hard to take deep breaths, right? Like I feel like I'm very guarded. I'm very I don't take what people say at face value a lot, you know what I mean? Like until it makes sense. And that's not a bad thing at all. It's just it kind of pushes me out a little bit as I'm coming in, and that's okay. There's just some I would call it like subconscious pushback. So I'm slowly rising in the energy. It's very slow. But as I start coming towards your solar plexus, which is right at your stomach and your heart space, it's very tight. I'm very protective. You're very protective. Excuse me. So then I'm also drawn up to your collarbones, and now I'm going more to the hormone releasing, and I'm able to do that more. So I'm stimulating like the epiglottis, the pituitary gland, the hypothalamus, and even your thyroid. Your thyroid is a bit undercooked, undergoing a little slower, which I don't think is like anything big, but there's definitely, I need to boost it. I could feel it in my throat. And then there's also like, what the heck is happening? So then I'm also going into the blood. So I can actually see your blood as I'm rising up. I get a little kickback sometimes when I say things, and that's okay. And I'm going to your actual blood flow. Like I feel like I've had a blood test and some things have been off, but my triglycerides, my cholesterol things, I'm trying to help balance those. And then as I do that, I'm drawn towards the heart and the aortic valve, and I'm just doing a cleansing, and I'm giving some love to the actual heart muscle. I'm strengthening, I'm giving it support. That's a key word. I need to support it. I need to give it a little bit of a break. And then I'm kind of helping the blood pressure to flow regularly and establish some balanced action and balanced flow here. The ebb and flow, my ebb and flow, the ebb and flow, a little bit of pushback, right? So I can actually see the heart muscle, and when it beeps, like the pushback, the ebb and flow, I feel like the valve may not close all of the way, and so I'm helping that. I don't know how necessarily I'm helping that, but I'm sending light in, and I'm helping the it clear the way. I'm helping it to process completely. I'm helping the muscle to push with strength, right? So it needed that support. It needed that love. It's just, I feel like stress is carried here a lot. Worry, there's our loved ones, things like that, just naturally. Also low on vitamin D. You could use some C and some zinc. I think zinc would be more important. Echinacea, your immune system's just slightly low. When I say things, it's because I'm healing them. It's nothing of fear. Never. I never say anything to go, oh my gosh, you got this, you're going to be in trouble. Nope. It's because I see it and I'm healing it. So it's just like, whoo. And then I'm going up the spinal column and into the brain stem. And I need to allow the blood to flow up as well as down evenly with a little more ease and grace. And there's a little pushback. I feel the pressure on my chest. I want this done, is what I'm hearing. I'm just calming the energy and seeing if that's the truth, if it's done, if they kick me out of your energy all the way, or if I can keep going. It's just a little overwhelming. There's two sides to that coin. So I'm just giving a moment. Interesting enough, though, right then I went to like the chest area and the lungs, and I felt like this release a little bit. And then like TB, but I don't know if that's this life or a past life or what is going on there. Now, sometimes we can carry stuff from a past life too within our DNA and our cellular structure. But so because of the little bit of the hesitancy and kickback, that's not exactly clear. But I'm doing a healing on your lungs. It's almost like a deep tissue release within the lung wall, the lung lining. I'm running like this light pink line just through the interior of the lung wall or the lung lining. And as I'm doing this, like I can take in oxygen. I feel pure oxygen coming into my body and it feels good. And I feel like that's also why I needed to help the blood flow up and the blood flow down. And just the whole system needed a little balancing and calming. And that may be it. Let's see, because I keep getting a little more kickback. Trust, right? Like I've been violated, like I feel like, right? And probably by medical professionals. Who knows? It's okay. It's just hard to trust what is happening at this time, and that's understandable as well. Everything I did will process, and you will see some changes, and then just go from there. It is weird. It isn't normal. And it is a little scary, right? It could be, absolutely. Because it can't be possible is what I'm hearing too. And that's okay to believe that way. Because it's not normal. There's not a lot of people who can do what I do. Not on the level I can. But I am getting kicked back because of that. So judgment and things like that will block and fear and stuff. And so it's okay. So I'm just going to put some calming energy, bending that down. But I feel like there's now a wall, like a barrier, and I'm blocked. Yep, I'm like completely outside of you now. Yeah. I'm like, how do I transition out of that? But I guess I don't have to because it was done for me. Yeah, Lisa's right. I have scraped her bone marrow a couple of times. Oh, she had a break in her ankle a few years ago. See, I wouldn't have known that, right? and that's why my bones hurt. That makes a lot of sense. And there was kickback, and that's okay. Give your body some time to process that, and maybe again, you'll be like, okay, I'm ready for more, and that's fine too. It's psychologically different, and subconsciously and consciously, sometimes we can only take so much at one time, and that's okay too. I actually did go to the heart space. I did some healing on your ankle. I scraped your femur bone marrow to help the bones in your body become more strengthened. I didn't get to the slight curvature of the spine on the top, but I did draw some line up your spinal column. The lungs were cleared. That felt really good. It was beautiful. It was quite a lot of pressure though, so I have to clear that, but it was good. Take some time with that. If you do have symptoms, which you can, people often feel symptoms. Yeah, I mean, we always think we're open, right? But that's a vulnerability, and this is and honestly, it was a gift for you, and so sometimes I need that, right? We need that exchange, and that's why I do it that way too. But now you'll know your body will process that, and so it'll probably be more open as you go forward. Yes, give it sufficient time to process. Again, though, is I'm gonna tell you, just Saints had a healing from me. Lisa's had a healing. There's lots of people that I do healings on, even people that don't ever come to my lives and stuff that I actually have regular clients of, and they have health stuff. Like I do, some stuff that's not normal. And they really do have changes. They really do have symptoms. And so if you feel a little bit worse before you feel better, that's normal, because the light that I use is very powerful. It's very potent. It's very pure. And that alone filters toxins. Okay. So just know that. Drink lots of water. Excuse me. I recommend salt baths. I didn't get a lot of any things that you need other than those vitamins and things. So I don't really know any dietary recommendations or anything that you needed. But I would just drink lots of water. Make sure you're hydrated, because whatever toxins that I do release, that'll help them flush out. So you can have difference in color when with our normal bodily things. Really, truly, symptoms can occur. But I would say it's okay, and they will be quite temporary. Sometimes some people I hear, they get really tired. Sometimes they'll sleep for quite some time afterwards. I remember the first time my mom had a healing, she felt like she had the flu the next day. It was very, very bad. But then the second time, she didn't feel that way. It was more energizing. So it's always different. Okay? So I don't know what you'll have. Just be mindful of that. Yeah, I think that's it. Lisa can probably fill you in on some of her symptoms. And I know Jacinta has gone through a lot of experiences with me as well. So yeah, they're very real. It's not normal. When we go to a doctor, a lot of times they give us medications, and that's counterproductive. And so what I do is the opposite. It's true, actual real-time healing in the moment. And so it does push out what doesn't align. I know. I was hopeful Steve would show today too, just saying he really needed that. You're so welcome. There's always a reason. I will tell you that right now. So everything happens for a reason. You were definitely meant to be here. I was definitely hoping Becca and Steve would show, but again, this is why I do the exchanges the way I do them. Everybody's always like, why do you charge for the stuff you do if you're a god returning? And I'm like, it has to be an exchange, because it's free will based, and what I do is very real, and our subconscious and our ego and our shadow that are hidden, they can wreak havoc. They truly can. So we have to be a little bit more understanding. It's a process, right? So that's why I do the things that I do the way that I do them. But that was really good, actually. I felt like what you did receive, you truly needed. So I'm very thankful for that. And I'm just going to see if there's any messages from Becca or Steve. No, there's not. So, I think when I said YouTube, maybe they didn't hear that part and they think it's Facebook. Who knows? We will see when that plays out. That's up to them. You are so welcome. Absolutely. It was a blessing. And I wouldn't have known that about her ankle, right? All of that pain, none of that stuff. I would never know. I knew nothing about her. So it's always validating. I love the way spirit validates. Spirit validates better than anybody ever could. Okay. Ever. Um, and that's why I like to do things the way I like to do them. There's a lot of people who like want your questions ahead of time. They want to get to know you. I don't, because when I can draw out of what is truly needed without knowing, the validations are astronomical, and that's healing in itself, isn't it? It's so healing in itself. It's so validating. It's so justification. It's clarifying, and it's mind blowing and magic. And I think it takes it to a whole nother level. So I'm always honored. It's always a blessing. On that note, I'll see if there's anything else Spirit wants to say. I'm bummed Steve didn't come today because I was quite concerned, but that's okay, right? Something else might have come in the way. I do these on Facebook on Tuesdays as well, and every Sunday on here at 11. I always do my lives, and then there's actually a lot of guided meditations on here too. That you can go and find. The workshops that I post, though, for the Christ return are not to be healed with. Those are for witnessing only for a reason. Yeah. Because they can spark shadow pieces, and that wouldn't be beneficial. And not only that, some are just meant to receive quicker than others and things like that. It's quite layered. So that's the difference in those videos, if you do watch them. I also have Hertz music that can help too. Yeah. Heck yeah. And that's the thing about guided meditations, really quick before I end this. I've noticed that there's people who will use other people's meditations. So I remember there was this one lady where I would listen to one of her meditations and I could tell that she channeled it. And then the next, like a while later, I listened to one and I can tell it wasn't hers. And I got nothing out of it. So there is true meditations, and then there's ones that are like what I call stolen. They don't work the same, right? So not all guided meditations do work. Some will feel some, and maybe you'll feel it once and then not after that. And so that could be also why I feel like guided meditations are something that people think that you can just borrow. But unless you're purely channeling them, they don't do justice like they should, right? So look for those that are more pure, that come channeled from that individual. Otherwise, I wouldn't do them. But that's me. Because everything that I do is channeled in the moment. Every single thing I do, the healing light moments, the healing light movement videos, I channel those in the moment. All of my Hertz music, I channel and I create on my own. All of my guided meditations I do on the spot. All of my healings I do on the spot. All of my messages I do on the spot without any information. So you want to look for individuals who truly do channel. Those are the ones who are bringing through, and they may not bring it right from God, right, or some of the higher beings, but as long as they are connecting and they are channeling through them, those are the more powerful ones you want to look for. There's Hertz music out there where they don't do that, right? They just put things together and they look it up what it means, and that's what you get. But when you listen to mine, it might spark your shadow too. So there's all of that to consider when the brevity of the work. I do. Yes, I have meditations. So that's the thing about what I did too, is you consider that's my awakening, right? I had no idea what was coming when it was coming. I would just do everything Spirit would say to do, and it's all there. The whole blueprint, creating the new earth, everything you need in the new earth, everything you need to get to the new earth, everything you need, it's all there. And then some. So it's been every day of my life since 2019 that this stuff has been coming through. And I'm so blessed, you guys. I've watched people heal heart issues. I've watched people heal so many ailments that, I mean, I saw what causes Parkinson's. Just the medications were battling me with that individual because they will do that. I can't work with medications. It's always against the work that I do. And so it can be a little difficult in some of the patients who are more severely ill. But I've seen so many amazing things come through. And, you know, to have people just not even being open to see the whole brevity of who I am and all the work that I do, they're cutting themselves short because it's pretty amazing. It's pretty unique. It's pretty intense. It's awakening just to experience it. You know, it really is. And it is what it is. Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, if you feel a little yucky before you feel better, it's temporary. I promise nothing's wrong. That's because it's actually pushing out the toxins. Okay. And the more that we release, the more you can feel that out first. All of us. When I first brought down Christ Light, I felt like I got hit by a Mack truck because it just pushes out what doesn't align. Okay. So much love to you guys. I hope you have a beautiful day. I'm going to go spend the rest of my Sunday with my chitlins. It's 1:11 time frame. I started at 1:11. It is the 11th of the month. It's pretty awesome. This time is very powerful. Numbers are relevant. Everything is relevant. Everything means something. You are so welcome. Thank you guys for being here. 1222 now too. Ooh, dang, all kinds of validations on this one. I really love the full circle moments, and I really like how I can screen share now on YouTube. That's an awesome thing. Now, if they would just let me do my background for my green screen, I'd be good. Have a wonderful day, everybody. I will see you guys soon. It is 222 her too. That's awesome. So much love, you guys. Bye.